What is up? Welcome back. Today we are continuing our run as the British, while we are considering between trying to maybe go for a world conquest this run, or just rush the achievement for anarchism. We will continue trying to play tight, as if we're doing a world conquest, but if people want me to just switch to, going anarchy as quickly as possible just to get the achievement here for the Great Britons, let me know. I thought I'd start this episode off by just taking a look at our market and thinking about our market a little bit. We haven't been too in it with the trade, and I think that maybe we should take a look at our trade routes. So first of all, we have some inactive trade routes. We're just going to keep them on in the event that we just want them to, well, we'll cancel this one with Oyo, but we just want them to restart in the event that conditions make it so that they can restart. And then we have some unproductive trade routes, so I think we will stop the unproductive trade routes that don't quite make sense. Like, we're importing porcelain from China. We're going to stop this trade route. This trade route really loses a lot of money. We're exporting small arms to Egypt. I don't recall putting this one down. Oh, this is when we were trying to incorporate Egypt in the market. We'll cancel this one. We will keep the import of coal and iron just in case they start making it cheaper, but we will stop importing steel. We are making steel now. This is a vestige of very, very early game. We will keep all hardwood imports coming in, even if they are not profitable, because eventually we're going to have hardwood problems. You know what I mean? You get older, this sort of thing happens. And then we'll cancel the softwood imports. We're not about that softwood life. Okay, so now we're going to quickly go through, and we actually are on free trade. I was going to prioritize export and import, but we will just take a quick look through how things are going in our market and what we're doing. Generally speaking, we want to be importing goods that are input goods and exporting export goods, or export goods, exporting finished goods. So we're happy to be exporting clothes here, more than happy. We actually are exporting a big chunk of these. We're just doing ourselves, but also people are doing it with us, but we just want to have as much trade as possible. We're importing fabric. Again, we're importing the inputs, exporting the outputs. We're exporting liquor, groceries, opium. Kind of don't necessarily want to be exporting opium by hand, but more than happy to. This trade route's really profitable. If we needed some convoys back, though, I forget where exactly we check the convoys. Alright, so the convoys are here. We have like 40,000 available convoys, or no, we have 121,000 available, and so we don't need the convoys back, but this is really profitable. We could cancel it and then let them come to us for opium. I think we'll just leave that where it is for now. We are importing tea, of course, naturally. We're exporting some luxury clothes by hand to the Ottomans, who we want to pull out of the Austrian market and into ours. They were in ours for a hot minute, but they will have a preference for, like, the Austrian market. It's not too often that countries will leave your market for another market, like unprovoked, but they have a preference for the Austrian market because the Austrians are adjacent, and we don't have an adjacency. If we got Persians into our market, this would be different, and once we pull the kebab in after having the Persians, it'll be much more stable. People are importing, again, furniture from us. We are importing sugar and silk. Again, we're importing the input goods. We're importing dyes. Although it's going both ways with the dyes, we're exporting a little bit of tools, so maybe this is a sign we need to build more tools if we're not even exporting that high a volume of tools. And yeah, this is kind of the thing. So let's take a look at our market, what's expensive, and try and, focus on putting in the import goods for these things. So we have opium is expensive in our market. Perhaps we should cancel that trade route and just let them have the trade route themselves. Yeah, we'll keep it for now, but this is something to consider. Steamers are a bit expensive. I think we are using the PM that makes less ironclads and more steamers. So we can't really switch PMs just to make this a little bit better. And they're currently barely profitable, if I recall correctly. We're building some engines in the queue. It's generally not easy to import this, but the Americans are happy to oblige, so we'll import some lead. So we don't have to do it ourselves as much. Let's take a look for importing on the hardwood. More than happy to get it from Ukraine and Korea. We're trying to pull both these guys into our market, so this makes it easy to pull them into the market because, how should I say? The more trade volume you do, the more you affect this modifier for trade volume for pulling people into the market. Also, it helps to take them off of cautious. We will also be looking through all of the people who are cautious and trying to just increase trade volume with them, even if it's not efficient. Now, we don't want to import glass, and glass is expensive, so we won't even take a look at it. Tea will always be a good import. we will just import it from a couple people who allow us to do large volumes. This is just to increase standard of living in our pops. Since our pops are British, or a lot of our pops are British, they will consume tea, even if tea is over expensive. So normally what any of our other pops will do is they'll take a look at the price of tea and they'll be like, you know what, I'm going to drink coffee instead. I'm going to drink a substitute good like coffee or tobacco or this type of thing. The British will just drink tea no matter what because they're obstinate about their tea drinking. We can make more tea, we can import more tea, but this will raise the SOL. Also, a little, bit of a side adventure here. On private schools, so if you go public schools, you get increased assimilation, which will make all your pops more heterogeneous. In terms of just balancing your goods for the luxury goods, you will have more diverse obsessions, which actually makes the economy a little bit better, because if we take a look, they're obsessed with tea, but the Han people are going to be obsessed with opium, right? And so it is easier, the more diverse cultures you have, the easier it is to balance, kind of all of their obsessions with kind of a normal looking thing. Because if tea is really expensive, so the English drive up the price of tea because they consume a lot of tea. The Han drive up the price of opium because they consume a lot of opium. And so this means that all these other nationalities like the Irish, they're free to drink the coffee because the coffee is cheaper because they act as substitute goods. And so if we had all British people, it would be a little bit annoying in terms of the tea would just be really expensive and the other goods would be cheap. But this allows the Irish will push demand for our coffee and other stuff too. Okay, so let's continue on looking through. We are importing some stuff. Let's see if we can import any coal efficiently. Just a little bit from the American market, but the Americas have really big potential for coal, so we'll just do that. Dyes. Now, we are one of the biggest producers of dyes, or our market, because all of India produces a lot of dyes. So, yeah, not the easiest to import. We are making some sugar ourselves. We also can import it to Tunisia. This seems fine. And fish is a nice one to import, and this might be the last thing we're importing just from globally from the market, a little bit from the Austrians. I guess this is okay enough. We are gonna run out of bureaucracy here. We're kind of too big for it to matter. So now here we can make, if we export steamers or ironclads, none of them really do high volume. If we could export a large volume of ironclads, that would help to bring down the price of steamers, which are expensive in our market. We also want to export fertilizer because generally our boom booms are not that efficient, and we're just going to sort by, who can take the most, and Ukraine can actually take quite a bit. Oop, we also see Japan can take quite a bit, and Japan is going to be a person we're trying to get from not being cautious towards us. And I think the last one, we actually want this to be cheap in our market, so we will not try and export the fabric. We will not try and export the grain for similar reasons. We can export clothes, and so we don't necessarily have to do it by hand, but I do want to get the Ukrainians into our market, so we're going to export it to them. And I don't see, it's not a large volume for the other ones. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we're going to take a look at the countries we are trying to diplomatically get into our market and eventually annex them. So Manchuria, we are trying to get them into the market. Currently we cannot because they are staying on, we got to get in this one. They are staying on being cautious towards us. And so if we do a large enough trade volume with them, you can actually change the attitude from cautious to cooperative or something like this. They are in the Korean market. So we're going to have to also do this with Korea, or we're going to have to focus more on Korea, Korea is also friendly / cautious. So let's try and do a lot of trade volume with the Korean market to hopefully be able to rope these guys in. And so let's go to the Korean market and look at what is expensive in their market. And we see they really need luxuries. So we're going to try and export all these luxuries to their market, increase trade volume. And we don't really care if they are the most voluminous, sort of trade routes. We're just going to export as much as possible. They do want tea. The English are not going to be happy about this, but we will export some tea. We won't be able to export too much because the English will be so upset. The British... and then tools are also a little expensive, and then furniture and probably regular clothes we could also export. but this is going to be it for our exports. So we will go furniture, tools, and clothes. And then we will take a look at what is cheap in their market. And we see silk is cheap, and fertilizer is cheap, and hardwood. And fabric. So we will go to import, and we will import all the cheap stuff from their market to our market. So we'll import the silk. We will import the fabric. Said we will import the fabric. We don't want to import the fertilizer. I'd actually rather fertilizer be expensive in our market, so we will not import it. We are importing hardwood already. We can import even iron from their market, and it's also profitable. And we can import probably fish, fruit, and softwood, or just regular wood, fish, and fruit. And hopefully this changes their attitude towards us to not be cautious, which is the main goal of what we're doing here. We will also do this. Now, notice this is starting to take a lot of this stuff, this bizzle. We will also, so that's Manchuria and them. Now we will do the same with the Japanese Shogunate. I think we've done this to some extent, but we'll take another look at it. We'll go to export trade routes again, and we're going to export the furniture and the luxury clothes to them because they have demand for them. Also, the opium doesn't have a thing. Why is tea expensive for you? I think it's because we're importing from them, so we can't re-export to them, if I'm not mistaken about the game mechanics. But we can export porcelain, which generally they're obsessed with. You know, the Japanese people in this game only want one thing, and it's fucking porcelain. We will also export, let's see. Glass. We could probably export glass here. If my eyes work. We're already exporting glass to them. Okay, fair enough. You got me. I believe we're importing dyes and fabric, which is why it's expensive in their market, and we're also importing fish, but we'll take a look at what's cheap in their market and see if we can import it. Oil is real cheap, so I guess we could import from them the oil, and fertilizer's cheap. I think fabric we're already importing. We're not importing fabric, so we will import the fabric. Yeah, we're exporting clothes to them. And furniture. So we're dumping these into their market, which is why I think they're so cheap. And I think we're importing these, which is why they're a little bit more expensive than they otherwise would be. And so doing this trade volume, we're hoping that they get a little bit more cooperative with us. And we're just going to look through and make sure we kind of have everything we want in terms of either we're getting an obligation, or we're waiting for them to not be cautious or with us. Now we can Protectorate them as soon as we get a obligation, and then we're trying to get Sokoto in the market. This is a long-term one, and the Philippines in the market are two we added in the interim, in addition to a bunch of construction in the queue. Kind of a lot of it focused down here in Buenos Aires, which we are integrating. Now, Buenos Aires is a lot of nodes away from the trade capital, so it is going to cost more convoys to maintain Buenos Aires, but I noticed there was a trade center. We subsidized it, so we have locked in, as far as I can tell from the game mechanics, we have locked in the migration attraction of the trade center. And so this will make it so that we can attract a large population here to do the industrial goods. And so this will be kind of a nice little hub here as well for stuff. I'm thinking we might want to expand the military a little bit here, but this will be fine for now, and we will be off and away, continuing our war, where we are landing Benin, and then we will continue trying to completely close off, this Congo, because memes, it's already closed off on the coast, so no one can colonize it anyways, but we're trying to close off the top, and then take Zanzibar, and then it'll look really closed off, because that's funny. Okay, so this is kind of what we're working for this episode. I've been hoping to get it this episode for the last 2 to 3 episodes, kind of underestimating how long it takes to push through here at the top with our current colonization efforts. Incorporating these couple states is going to help out a little bit because we've increased our incorporated population by quite a bit. But okay, and we just have some stuff start employing / finishing, so our bureaucracy jumps up, so we're not in bad shape at all. And have you changed your opinion on us already, Josian? Nope, still cautious, but we're hoping that the volume of trade does help. If we take a look, we will see that we are getting 25 from volume of trade, but the reason we have no chance is because this attitude cautious. If we didn't have this, we would be able to absolve the obligation and invite them in. We also need to have more diplomacy available. So what we will do, we will rival whoever we can. I guess it's just Prussia for now. We are doing a little bit of trade with them, but that will help out. And so now we can actually invite them. And we finish film. So now let's take a look. And also running this little bit of surplus is nice because it will increase our infamy decay, but now I can show you that even using the obligation, we would still be off by 15. So, wow, we are suddenly making a lot more money. I think we still have the construction queue going. Now, we are kind of getting to the point where it's a little bit hard for us to... So we could go threshing machines right here. I think I actually like going threshing machines because... well, actually, threshing machines will likely be discovered somewhat sooner, so we want the gnat spread. Currently, we're gnat spreading concrete, which leaves us at a bit of a quandary. I think we go telephonos. Or we just go society tech somewhere. I mean, I like me some Zeppelins. I think elevators is maybe the best tech. Actually, we've been wanting to expand construction in incorporated territories, and we just don't have any incorporated territories left to expand, so we will go elevators for the +5 cap. No cap, we want +5 cap. Now, revolutionary trucial states. This is a bit annoying. So, we want to be able to start a war. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to capitulate here so that we can start a war. We weren't going to capitulate, but I want to be able to conquer Zanzibar and be able to start this war. Now, I don't think this will take me over 25, so 6.8 plus the ability to do math. I said plus the ability to do math. Where was it? We gotta go interactions. 6.8 plus 17, that's just under 25, so that'll keep us in the nice zone. So we will go conquer Zanzibar. Now, France can side with them, kind of hoping they don't, but we'll see how things shake out. And so this is the reason why we ended this war here, just capitulating instead of making sure we opened Oyo's market, is because now we can start this war before this Trucial States revolution pops off. Which is going to be what we want. We will put some guys on some fronts. Of course, our guys did not stand down because we had this diplomatic play already started, so it prevents your guys from standing down, but this is fine. And then also, I forgot, we do want to interact more with the Dakota market, so we will also export to them stuff that they need, which is going to be porcelain and other stuff. Let's take a look. The reason we did not export to them before, when we first released them, is because they don't have an interest. Oh, we have no way of reaching this market? That's not true. They don't have an interest in their own region at this point, I think, because we just opened their market, and it's, like, buggy when you initially, like, open something up. We could get a defensive pact with Austria. Austria is pretty friendly with us. Their enemies are our enemies, especially now that we've rivaled Prussia. I don't want to commit to helping them out in wars, though, but I probably will help them out in wars. Maybe you want to increase taxes here. We have an election coming up, but the reason we might want to increase taxes is, okay, we're going to be legitimate either way, and I kind of want to throttle the standard of living increase. I wanted to float around low 20s for a little bit. Persia wants in, and Poland wants in. Let's see if we can pull them into our markets as a consequence of this. They will probably be offering us an obligation, so we'll just say no to Poland, because we can't pull them into the market yet, I don't think. I mean, we will be once Ukraine can come in. And I kind of do want to defend Poland. No, we won't. And then, for them, for Persia... Are you offering us an obligation? No, you're not. So we'll just say no. We want to get them into the market. Man, we are printing money here. And the investment pool is growing quite quickly. So I'm actually pretty happy about this tech choice. We probably should have gone elevators earlier. That way it'll give us +5 capacity. If you notice, we kind of want to have our construction centers in incorporated states, and you'll see they're capped out there, they're capped out there, and they're capped out in Buenos Aires. These are all of our incorporated states. They're all capped out, so a little bit rough. Now, this war will 100% pop off because it's a revolutionary war. This war they might back down in. If they back down in this war, we can declare another war. It will probably be with Wadai to open their market, just like we opened Sokoto's. And France sides with Zanzibar, an interesting choice. We, of course, will be putting a bunch more guys on fronts as a consequence of this. And probably be trying to land France with our really big guy that we put on one of these fronts. But for now, we'll just move him there. And we will want to think... So this war now probably... They're unlikely to back down now. Actually, it's still minus 75. That's nuts. We will add some war goals on France if this progresses a little bit more. And try and keep an eye on it so we don't have to bird. Just to make sure we get war goals. Because that's kind of what happened before. There's not much left to do with France. We can make them release stuff, and we can do war reps. I guess we'll always be doing war reps from France, and we can maybe make them liberate Corsica, but we don't want to liberate Corsica because it's going to require more wars to integrate the entire world's population if we liberate Corsica, and it's just one state. If, like, we could cut France in half, we would do it, and we don't want to generate any more infamy, so I guess maybe humiliation is, like, the only other things we could add. We could transfer subject. Oh, what's their relationship with the Netherlands? Hold up. If Netherlands is a puppet, we're interested in this. If they're just a customs union, we're not. Johor is a puppet of France. And they have protectorates in the form of Baden, Netherlands, and Peru, Bolivia. So we might just want to liberate some of these subjects. I think... Now, we could transfer Johor, but this is going to take us over 25 infamy, which I don't think is how we want to use our infamy right now, but we will just liberate as many of these guys as we can, starting with, I guess, Netherlands, and then also Spain, and then Peru, Bolivia, or Johor, maybe. I think Peru, Bolivia. I don't think this war goes through, and maybe we should have waited to just make sure that, you know, Egypt didn't get swayed or something, because now we can't take anything off Egypt if Egypt goes through, but, oh well, whatever. Favorite party. I don't think this is going to be worth it, so no message will be sent to Mexico. We have been trying for some time to make them a protectorate, and we're not trying anymore because they get defending the borders, on top of having value differences in the government. Oh, I suppose we could have taken that just to make them... Maybe we should have done that event. I should have taken a closer look at it, because if they put the Industrialists in government, they probably start looking a little bit more like us. One of us, one of us, one of us. They're probably, yeah. But they do have the gold reserves. Also, I was really surprised. I think it was last episode, a minus 71 war went off, which was wild to me. We did swap the PMs of these guys over to electric. We're slowly turning the electricity on and things. I think what we might do is just add another 10 to every power plant we already have. Something like this. Which, okay, maybe it's better to 51 a new place. It probably is better to 51 a new place, but why don't we 51 here as well on top of this? And then here we will turn on the electric rails to make infrastructure for that. All the electric trains are on. Maybe they can support it with the infrastructure. We'll see. Labor Party, or... Who's the Labor Party? I think I don't mind them getting... I think I actually just prefer the throughput, but our plan is to do this. And then we can try and pass the women's right, the feminist reforms. So this will be nice. We definitely want the feminist reforms, so this is kind of what we're working towards. Man, our line's starting to go pretty straight up-ish. I suppose we do want here a little bit of unis. And the Pilit party wins, and we can reform for free now, which is kind of what we were waiting for. Oh wait, the Pilit party won? No way. So we could do this, or we could do this. Or we could stay here. Now here we have more legitimacy than we did before, and suddenly the Pilites are... We're going to stop bolstering them because they've gained a lot of clout. We will increase this, and then we will bolster someone else. I guess we will bolster the trade unions. And we actually, I don't think we want to switch the government right now. Because we have to put the petite bourgeoisie with these three. And this is not a party we want, because it becomes very incoherent. So you see we can't click confirm, because this guy has to come into the Charist party. And we'd rather just be more legitimate. We will lower taxes one notch, which kind of solves how much money we were making. It's also going to shoot up the standard of living, which isn't exactly what we want. But... Actually, why don't we instead not bolster, we lower the taxes, but then we put in some consumption taxes. We can tax transportation. Usually don't see that. Man, we're already consumption taxing like everything. We want our pubs to consume transportation though, because it decreases the amount of subsidies we have to pay. So we would be doing like glass and tobacco. Guess I don't really like that. So yeah, maybe just bolster these guys to offset, to make sure that they stay above 18%, so we get the powerful bonuses, and yeah. But then now that we're a righteous government, we should be even better with the loyalists versus radicals, which, I mean, okay, we're already pretty fine with that. But, doesn't hurt. And we're also just making hand over fist. We wouldn't mind, in fact, hemorrhaging money for quite some time. So we'll do this. This war probably doesn't pop off. So they are very likely to back down. We do want to annex Sierra Leone. Don't want to exhaust, or actually we'll just do it in Singapore. Here we have access to everything in the Congo. We are just going to get the whole shebanger. That's not the case over in over here. Although we are on excellent shape on that front. This doesn't pop off, right? I know the French hate us, but that's it. Can we rival them? No, because we're cordial, but we can later. We did expel their diplomats. A little bit of naughty. I was happy to see these guys hanging on to some serious strength, though, in the government. I was concerned that they were starting to wane. Well, you know, we're... Alright, I was about to see if I could add a war goal, which I could have, because I had more maneuvers, but this is fine. Brazil wants a defense attack. They're offering us an obligation. Now, can we almost make them... We can make them a protectorate off the back of this. In which case, this will break the defensive pact anyways. So we will say yes. We will make them into a protectorate. We will use the obligation. This will gain us 6 infamy, but I want to lock it in. And then we will stop bankrolling them. And they are now a protectorate of ours, so we will actually start damaging relation, and it breaks the defensive pact. We don't have enough of that to diplo to damage relations with them, so we'll see if we can rival anyone. We can't. We do want to damage relations with Brazil, though, so that we can execute, so that later we will be able to incorporate them easier. And we get Zanzibar here. We're going to delete the government administrations, I think. Although maybe this is an incorporatable territory, its population will be my guess, a 20-year incorporation, so we won't want to go for it. Yeah, it will be. So we're going to leave the government admins. We're going to leave these here for now, and then we will expand. We'll take a look what's profitable here. Tea, of course, is always going to be really profitable. And we just moved to getting a throughput bonus of whatever good that is. I'm guessing. Man, it is tea. So we're just going to add 5 of those there. And we'll add 5 to the front of the queue as well. And then we'll switch these ports over to industrial ports, which will cover the need for infrastructure and give them a whole bunch of jobs. And then we won't need to build infrastructure there. Hee hee. And then now we just need to incorporate Portugal here to really have the perfect borders, although they are the correct colors, so just in terms of what the map looks like, it works. Man, this hyper-legitimate government, absolute banger. Righteous. 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 We will want to make sure that the rural folk do stay above 5%, so we are going to want to take this off. We're going to stop bolstering here. We're going to start bolstering here. And then we're going to decrease taxes on these. And then run the authority right there. And then, yeah, okay, this seems good. You want to give up, sir? Or what? Now, is there... We want to puppet them. So, we're damaging relations with a lot of different countries, and the countries we're damaging relations with, I think we're going to stop damaging relations here. We are doing it so that we know we can incorporate them later. I guess we shouldn't have stopped, so we'll probably want to focus more on all these countries and incorporating these countries than acquiring new countries for, like, the near-ish future. The thing is these are low infamy wars, which we don't necessarily always want, although we do want them now. We'll check in over here in Manchuria. They're now wary. They were cautious before, but we have gone over 25, which is generally something to be avoided. The one that really matters is these guys, and they are wary as well. But we can propose a trade agreement here, so we're going to do that. And once we have a trade agreement, maybe their attitude will change and we'll be able to pull them in. Perhaps. Can we get a trade agreement with you guys? We can get a trade agreement with these guys as well. We're going to propose it before the other guys accept. That way we can go into negative influence. I believe this is the way that works. Rubber Rush. This place seems effective, I guess. And once we have the trade agreement, maybe they won't be wary anymore, and then maybe we can get them in. Same with Japan. We've been trying to get them into the market for some time now. Just paying them tons and tons of money for nothing. And it does let us go into negative in order to do this. Very nice. Hopefully they get pulled off of wary. We're probably going to have to wait a little while to see. We are damaging relations with Sierra Leone. This one keeps on having revolutions, so this is probably the first integration we want to go about doing. Once this stuff finishes. And the queue. The queue. Oh no. The queue is not full. Looks like glass and clothes are auto-expanding in a few places, so we will find places that don't have clothes, and we will give them clothes. So like this place, no textile mills, so we'll 51 them. And then we'll click auto-expand. Let's take a look at the rails. So on the lowlands, do you have electric rails yet? I'm guessing no, so we'll swap over, which will solve their infrastructure problem temporarily. We'll put in some glass here. Set it to auto-expand, and this helps to build out our queue a little bit. We don't have clothing here. We will put in the clothes, and we will 51 it, set it to auto-expand, and then make sure they're on electric railways, because they will need it. And this is about to resolve with the Trucal States. We will see if we can annex Sierra Leone / Portugal. After this finishes with the Trucal States, we had actually been trying to incorporate the Trucal States quite a bit earlier on as a low infamy type of war, or to try and puppet them, but it just like never worked out. So this is 0.3 infamy. This is 13 infamy, so that's quite a bit. So we will annex these guys first. And then we will just put an inky dinky guy on that front. It's probably all we need. Prussia declares a rivalry, kind of expecting that to happen. We did rival them first. We wanted the extra Diplo to be able to get things to maneuver. Let's see if they've changed their tune a little bit. Nope, still wary. I think that once we pull down off of this over 25, that they might change their tune a little, and so we're more than happy to let this decay. France is damaging relations. We're fine with this. In fact, if France damages them enough, we'd actually be happy because, well, actually, we can end the trade agreement. Let's do this, because we were looking to get more Diplo anyways. And then Ukraine wants a trade agreement. We will say yes to this. But now, since we ended the trade agreement, we have worse relations. We might be able to rival them soon. We do want to invite them to the customs union. We are going to need more obligations to do this. Let's take a look through here. Here. We're just looking for who we have obligations that aren't wary with us, because the wary guys we cannot incorporate anyways. Ashanti is sides with Sierra Leone. They're minus 100. There's no way this goes through, but we will open the Ashanti market just in case. And we will, I suppose, you know, put guys on fronts. We don't really mind paying a little bit extra. They're still minus 100 fearful, so. Now we do have a little bit of extra Diplo. Can't get them in the customs union. They're wary. They're wary. So I guess it's just chilling for now a little bit. Let's try and see if we can turn on some more electric streetlights, which are going to take up electricity. But we want to slowly transition on to this PM. What we really want is we want to get Ontario. And we want to get Ontario for the Niagara Falls, and then we'll just build a level 1000 electrical center or whatever there. And incorporate it and just be super chatty. Prussia does have a thing going on. Man, that is a strong rev. Now they are supported by Peru, Bolivia, and them. But why don't we lean the other way? Although I think I'm more than fine just not getting involved in this war as well. Yeah, so the thing that throttles your ability to world conquest is only having one war at a time. And so right now, the Sierra Leone war doesn't really do too much in terms of, like, okay, are you progressing this world conquest, becoming powerful in the world? But what it does do is it makes it so we don't have to declare another war later, because we will have already annexed them, while simultaneously being a relatively low infamy. And so we're kind of trying to get a lot of the low infamy wars out of the way. Right here, we're like 30 years into the game, and when we get when we get all these like lower infamy wars out of the way, we can play more of the game where we make use of being under 25 infamy, so we can, for example, like Protectorate Brazil, so that we can puppet them. We do want to damage relations with them, but we can't at this moment. Actually, wait, can we? Let's see. I think we are currently... Let's stop damaging relations with them, and then we should be able to damage relations with Brazil, who's a protectorate. And so, this way, like, we can annex guys slowly who are quite big. Alright, they back down, and we have a whole bunch more construction in the... How much construction centers do they have here, my guy? Okay, it felt like it had expanded our construction centers. We could maybe expand the millet all the way here, because they already have the millet, but why don't we just do this? Give them some jobs. Do some of this action. I think you have a port. You do. It's probably an anchorage. We'll turn it to an industrial port, so this will already just create a ton of jobs. And hopefully that makes integration a little bit easier. And then we'll turn our sights on Portugal. Now it's 13 infamy, so we need to find another low infamy war. And what we could do is we could open Wadai's market. This is something we could also just chill. Don't hate chilling, but we do want to declare a war that uses up almost no infamy. Actually, why don't we look who we're damaging relations with and see if we can integrate any one of those. So Transvaal, damaging relations. Can we puppet them? Yes, barely any infamy. So this will help us along the way to, you know, puppet and then integrate. So why don't we puppet Transvaal here? And not too many people who can join in. Just Mexico, who's like good relations with us. So this is probably just a quick back down. We will mobilize just in case, I guess. Oh, did Orange join? So we will look to open Orange's market, I guess. And we'll just, that's the part, there's just a part of me that knows like this mobilization is really like gratuitous, but also that just like wants to do it anyways. And then we'll open the market of Orange. This is probably all we want. I suppose we could war rep Orange as well. Kind of don't really care. France declared us a rival. Perfect. We're going to declare him right back. And now we have a lot of tasty influence. So we can do more stuff with it. You are still wary. I'm still infamous. Soon to be not. Still wary. Cautious. Genial. Don't have the obligation yet. Genial. Have an obligation. Can we Protectorate Italy? No, but okay, we're trying to get them into our customs union once stuff changes a little bit. We have to wait out the thing. Okay, perfect. We're in good shape for what we want to be doing. I think what I'm going to do is go into textile mills, make sure they're all expanding by 1. This way I can see which areas do not have any textile mills pretty easy. And we will just 51 them in the couple places that they are not being built in the homelands. And then we will set them on auto expand. Let's make sure these rails switch to electric. To support the needed infrastructure. And let's take a look at the rails. So do we have electric up here? We do not, so we'll swap them over. And we've just slowly been transitioning to electric here. Expecting the back down from Transvaal. Can we confederate anything? Alright, let's take a look. We can survey a skyscraper site. So what we will do, since we can survey a skyscraper site, we're going to look to build more tax capacity. We have insufficient capacity in Ulster. We'll add like 5 levels to the front of the queue there. And then we will also go to a place like Midlands, which is already pretty kicked out. And we'll just add like 10. This way we can survey a skyscraper site pretty comfortably once all these finish. Which will be soon-ish. Famous last words. We currently have no type of crop here. And, okay, the most profitable ones are going to be tea. Because our pops only want one thing, and it's fucking tea. But why don't we try and create a little bit... Well, let's click these on auto expand. And these on auto expand. Although they'll just expand anyway. And maybe we want to make a crop here. Maybe we want it to not be tea. Maybe we want it to be dyes. A lot of places can make dyes though. Why don't we do coffee and then set it to auto expand? And then here, why don't we make it coffee and set it to auto... Well, why don't we actually just do 10 levels of coffee and then call that a day? Not interfering with this. We could. It looks like... Oh, it looks like it popped off. Kind of just waiting for you to back down here, my guy. want a defensive pact? Hell no. Actually, we should take a look at where we maybe have like defensive pacts or anything. I just really wish that this like system looked a little bit differently. We have a defensive pact with Mexico. That's actually, I think, the only country we would want a defensive pact with. Trade agreement with Austria is fine, I think. And that's kind of it. Yeah, fair enough. You got us. We do have a bunch of extra Diplo anyways, though, which, of course, is decreasing our infamy faster, so it's not useless. Transvaal backs down. They become our puppet. So now we will look. Is there anyone else? We have a truce with Transvaal. We're friendly with them. We're cordial with them. How close are we cordial? We're pretty high up there. And we're still looking for a war. So we are going to take a look here. Trucal states and Ionian Islands we would want to incorporate. Assuming that we can. Trucal Coast. Let's take a look. Let's make them a puppet. And there's a lot of countries that can join against us. We will face Austria. I mean, I think that they back down even with Austria's help. Really not keen on fighting Austria. This is why we haven't done this yet already, I think. Let's take a look at the Ionian Islands. Where is the Ionian Islands? Alright. Gonna have to do some sleuthing here. Please. Please. Oh, there it is. Okay. We do want to incorporate them. They're just a protectorate right now. I think we just go for the Trucal States, man. It's barely going to cost us any infamy. And, you know, I think that they likely back down so we don't actually get the war with Austria. They're in bankruptcy. They're in turmoil. They have loans. I don't think this goes through. I suppose we'll put that guy there just in case, but I think this doesn't go through, and this is a war we need to declare at some point. It accrues us almost no infamy, and so we want to carry on with it. Let's just add like 5 there. Let's add like 5 here. Finish those. Let's get off this view. So we do like rubber here, or sorry, sugar here. Sugar is more profitable than these tobaccos. So why don't we do this and set it on auto expand? Ottoman side with the Trucal States. Was not expecting that. I suppose we could add war goals on these guys just in case this pops off. It's now just minus 56 in terms of the mobilization differences. And so, yeah, I think we're going to actually want to put some reasonable war goals in here. I think we liberate Iraq. Well, I know what my Romanian viewers would want me to do. Guess we can liberate Transylvania. I don't think this is the best lib, but it does weaken Austria. Yeah, I mean, it's really not the best. The thing to do is to actually cut off Austria's access to the coast long term to weaken them. We'll do it anyways. Well, yeah, sure. We'll liberate the Ottomans so we can eventually pull them into the market. Actually, we could liberate Italy for the same reason. think I like liberating Ottomans, because getting them into our market will be much more stable. But Italy's much more powerful. Let's liberate Italy. Oh, maybe we could have even offered independence to Italy. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oop, gotta keep up with the queue. We'll see where it has the peasants, and then we'll add a bunch there. Stick that at the front of the queue. And I think just for the sake of convenience, what we will do now is I expect a lot of these... Well, let's turn this off. I expect a lot of our newly acquired state or our, like, all of our colonies to be having infrastructure problems, and so I'm going to switch all the rest to electric trains. I'm just going to switch all these like level 1 and 2s over and solve their infrastructure problems, hopefully. Kind of hoping they back down, just mildly. We're going to be decaying infamy no matter what. We are almost not infamous. Politician died. This is kind of important. Let's take a look at our politicians' interest groups. We have moderate, radical, feminist, traditionalist, and this is monarchist or royalist. A little annoyed that that guy died. We would have rather he stayed alive because he was one of the absolutely cursed, man. We really want to move towards women's suffrage, but we have not gotten feminist in an interest group that is in power. So starting to get to the point where everyone is getting access to voting, though, because the threshold for voting, for wealth voting, I think is 25, if I'm not mistaken. Elevators is really big here, though. The threshold for wealth voting is 25, and so if you take a look, our secure pops are 20, our middling pops are over 25 on average, so we are getting there. I think that... So we could just rush trench now, maybe? This is good. We kind of want to do ahead of time tech, because if we... Actually, I actually kind of want threshing machines, but the problem is we want the tech spread to apply to our techs. Currently it's only getting military tech, because we're like ahead on every other tech, and we're not really benefiting from our spread. And so, in general, we can go ahead of time, like I could go paved roads even. I mean, I could go paved roads. Could also go political agitation. I think running up the military tax also just makes sense here, so we're just gonna do that. And now we can finally... We're just gonna put these in the back of the queue, but we could do this. Feels so damn good. Just increase by 20% our construction. Not have to incorporate any new states to do it. We kind of want them in incorporated states. And there, and in there. Okay. So, it looks like we are having a little bit of rail problems, or infrastructure problems, so we're going to solve them with some rails. Oop, did I click the right thing? Yeah, I did. We haven't gotten to the point where the lag is really inhibiting my ability to click accurately, but that comes later. Now's not the time to panic. That comes later. Kicking these to the front of the queue, by the way. Yep, everything's looking pretty good, at least over there. I guess we forgot about the rest of the world, the whole eastern portion, which, you know, classic Western mistake here. What east? Construction is going to explode a little bit. It's going to go up to around 5.5k. Can you, like, back down? Maybe we should have even tried to sway a country. I think we should have tried to sway Italy. I think what they would have wanted is independence, which we're asking for anyways. And that would have helped balance things. We are going to mobilize everyone to try and push this for them to back down. And also, we're going to need everyone mobilized. But I do think they back down here. Minus 100 is a big cookie. We kind of want to maintain our relations with Austria, but if they don't back down, it's not the worst, because liberating Iraq is pretty good. So, Belgium wants an alliance. They're offering us an obligation. If we had an obligation, could we protectorate them? No. Really close, but no. So we're going to say no. Close, but no. Are we no longer... I'm guessing that offer is because we're no longer infamous. So we are going to check if people are still cautious towards us. Persia is not cautious, but we do not have a obligation. They are not cautious, don't have an obligation. To Persia, can we take on their debt? No. We have an obligation with Italy, but we are waiting for the thing to time out. We have an obligation with them, but they are cautious. Ottoman Empire is antagonistic. That explains a lot. They are still wary / neutral. Alright. So I guess I assign everyone to this front, because this is the front. In case this war actually does pop off, we don't want to lose this front instantaneously. It would be a little bit annoying. I thought the thing forcing me to scroll down was just them backing down for a second. I was like, ah, that's cool. But it was not. It was not cool. Again, I have overestimated our ability to do this, but it looks like they backed down right here at the last minute. So I think we get to maintain our stuff with them, but now they're antagonistic. But I think they changed from antagonistic pretty quick. Not sure exactly, but again, we're going to have to do the same thing here. We're going to want to declare a low infamy war that is somewhat useful to us. So, we can't integrate any of these guys. Transvaal, we have a truce with. We are friendly and cordial. We're cordial with the Ionian Islands, so soon we'll be able to just annex them. But not really having a little bit of trouble here. Not with this. This is absolute banging, how we drew it up. But what we're having trouble with is trying to find useful wars that don't incur a lot of infamy. And so this would be kind of useful, but this is only 2 provinces. We can take Wadai in 2 wars no matter what. So this isn't what we want to do. I don't want to accrue a lot of infamy. Can we... What about... Is one of you guys just like... Oh, this is 2 states somehow. Are you... Nope, that's 6 infamy. A lot of these places in here actually just have kind of a decent amount of population, which makes them really expensive from an infamy perspective to conquer. You know, I'm just thinking maybe Landfang? Or Sintang? It's only 4.7. That will take us over 2.25 though, so I don't want to do that. But the problem is we don't have any subjects who we're currently damaging relations with who we can just like annex, which is kind of what we want. That's a lot of infamy. What the fuck? We don't actually have a front with this guy. We have a front with this guy. It's 5 infamy again. Do want to declare one of these wars. What about you? 6.8? You? Oh, these are all so expensive. $3.8 I think is the cheapest one I've seen. We could try and kneecap these guys. We could go to open their market, right? And then liberate Syria. And then with Syria liberated, we would be able to make a more substantive war against... See, because we can't puppet them because they are unrecognized major power. But I think just us getting more powerful would have the same effect, if my understanding is correct, which may or may not be. Alright, can we... It might just be chill. That might be the answer here of what we should do. Kind of don't like that answer. Ooh, we did accrue a bunch of this so we could get survey a skyscraper site. We do want to federate Australia. God save the Queen. New South Wales. My baller. Do want to incorporate them at some point. So we're going to damage relations. What do we need to pop this? Oh, so the British Raj, we just need to annex. So let's damage relations with them as well. Kind of just... do we have a decent war in here? Probably not. That's a lot of infamy. Can we protectorate you guys? No, not close. No, not close. Macran, can we conquer you guys? No. I think we might just want to go for the cheapest war possible, which I think was these guys. And just accept the fact that we will be a little bit infamous for a little bit longer. But one of the downsides is Austria can side with them. And they might not be running the same type of weird deficits. So if that's kind of the way we're looking at it, then maybe we go after someplace like Sintang, which also... a little bit of infamy, just whichever one of these has the least. Or it might just be Lanfang, with the idea that we will be caught up in a pretty big war, because I don't think Great Xing backs down when we go to conquer Lanfang, or is much less likely to. Which was going to give us a much longer war, which we can use to decay. A lot of people can join in. I guess Russia's likely to join in, because they're not fans of us. This is such a weird spot. I mean, these guys actually might be the least amount of infamy in this area. Could go after Tador. Oh, they're multiple. Oh, this might be good though. So there are 3 different things, so we might just want to puppet them, which only accrues 4 infamy, and then we can annex them later. And they're likely to back down. And, okay, we go over for a little bit. But let's just check before we go over. I think we already checked all this. We did already check all this. that we couldn't get anyone immediately. We will go over 4, and then we will come back under 4. Maybe Hawaii? This gives us 5.5. No one can jump into this war, though. So they will just back down and give it to us. And then we don't forget about Hawaii later. That's a good thing. Oh, because these ones are small too. We could go after one of these guys. That's 5.8. That's too much. Not small enough. I think I do like puppeting Tidor though. Because 4 is the minimum. And it is 3 states we have to get through, right? Tidor, Celebes, Tidor, and Western New Guinea. So we can't just take them off them in one war anyways. And it's only giving us 4. This is one of the cheapest puppets available. We will just go for this. But I think I will call it a session here. This session was not too terribly eventful, I think. I can't even remember any like major highlights. Last session we puppeted Norway and Sweden, and this one we kind of just engaged in a bunch of like little-ish wars. I suppose we got Zanzibar, and then we did this like war over here. You know, we did expand. I guess we got electric railways, and that was pretty nice. In terms of tech, that was a very nice tech to get, and we also expanded construction quite a bit, or we are about to expand construction quite a bit. So it's just kind of been a chill episode, pulling people in our market and chilling for the most part. We did Protectorate Brazil. I guess that's the biggest thing. We made Brazil our Protectorate, so that's nice. We will be able to, you know, once the relations get negative, we will be able to puppet them for very little infamy, and then we are going to be looking to next episode. I've been keep on pushing up next episode, but next episode I do think we're going to close this here, and we are going to annex Portugal, I think, in the next war, or the next war. I think the next war might be against one of these guys we're damaging relations with, you know, once they get low enough. So I think New Africa is probably on the chopping block. Once we get them under cordial, we'll be able to just annex them, and this will be a nice little chunk of the Americas for us. And then, you know, after that, I think it's going to be Portugal, because this annexation will only cost like single-digit infamy, I think, or very, very little, like under 2 or 3, and then into the breach of annexing Portugal, I suppose. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, or share, and have a good day.